Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And Boo Radley wanted to be in the beginning of this video. These dogs have been so crazy. They are so energetic and they are so ready for, are you ready for Santa Claus to come? He goes, yeah, I've made my list, Dad. What do you want for Christmas this year? Well, I'll take a bone and a white Christmas. He's so excited for Christmas. And his little brother Tucker is sitting right over here. Do you hear that? They're running all around. So anyway, today is a meditation video, but before I get into the meditation video, I wanted to show several of my meditation books because people have asked kind of what it is that I do in the morning when I get centered and I do my prayers and my meditation. So let me kind of explain it to you. And I think it's important going into this that you know that I do have a higher power, but that's a personal issue for me. Like, you can believe in what you want to believe in. I think everybody should have the right to their own belief systems when it comes to spirituality or lack thereof, if that makes sense. And so what I do is I get up in the morning and, you know, I let the dogs out, and then after that I come back inside and I first say my prayers. I have kind of a set of prayers that I say. Some of them are just, you know, speaking to my higher power. Others are prayers that I have learned in the rooms of 12-step programs, and others are just, you know, there's a prayer that I say most days that has helped me to want what I already have, and that's a lot about gratitude in my life. And then after that, I go through a list in my head. I used to make a written list at the end of the day, but now at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, I go through my head and I make a list, and I thank my higher power for just about everything. And then in the morning, it's typically more kind of grand scale stuff. And in the evening, I do the same, and I mean like my health, my sobriety, my life, my marriage, things like that, my home, food to eat, you know, water to drink, things like that. The health of my family and friends. But in the evening, I do the same kind of gratitude list in my head, but it's a little bit more specific in other areas. I'll go through the day and I'll try to like pick out certain things that were very specific and meant a lot to me during that day, that I'm very, very grateful. So, because I like to stay in the day as well, if that makes sense. And, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, like what happened to me with doing the gratitude list every day written down was that over time, I just started writing like the same things over and over and over again. And then after I do that, I do my affirmations. And usually what that is me just kind of sitting, looking out at nature, at the world, at our backyard, or just if it's too cold, like sitting in here and just sitting in silence when the dogs aren't running around. And it's funny because they always allow me kind of this time, but I just kind of sit in silence for a little bit, you know, and I'll say things out loud like, today is going to be a great day. You know, today is going to be a really positive day. You know, I'm going to be happy all day long today. I'm going to feel good all day long today. That anything that comes my way, I can work through. I'm strong. You know, and I say all these kind of affirmations. And there are other affirmations you can say too, you know, like if you're down on yourself about, you know, like your weight. Like I struggle with weight issues and I'm on this weight loss journey. So I'll say, today is going to be a good day as far as how I accept my weight or how I choose to work through it. But it's always just like positive. You don't take a negative and turn it into a positive typically in your affirmations. You know, and I try to stay away from things that are like negative, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like I always just try to affirm the positive, if that makes sense, and say things like, you know, I don't know, like I said, like today's gonna be a great day, you know, I'm gonna have a lot of fun today, I'm gonna laugh a lot today, I'm gonna be very peaceful today, I'm gonna be very serene today, you know, I'm gonna feel good about my body image today. That would be an example of the weight thing, you know, not like, please, like, okay, and like affirming the negative would be, please help me to not struggle today. Like that's a prayer, but that's not an affirmation. An affirmation is, I'm going to feel good about my body today. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I do. And then I sit down and I read several meditation books. And it kind of depends on what kind of hurry I'm in and all that. And sometimes like I'll go back and I'll get my coffee and then I'll come, I do my prayers and you know, all that, but then I'll come back and after I've gotten my coffee is when I'll sit down and I read my meditation books. Now, I typically go through and I pick like 2 or 3 books from that day that I want to read. Sometimes 1, sometimes 6, it just depends. But I wanted to show you guys, so we have a cabinet in our downstairs bathroom because we don't really use this bathroom down there. So I have a cabinet where I keep like all of my recovery texts, T-E-X-T-S, and all of my like, you know, paperwork and recovery stuff in there. And then I also have all of my meditation books. I have probably another 20 downstairs in the basement that I don't use on a regular basis. But these are the ones, I don't know if I can show them. These are the ones that I keep in there. Can you see them? Every day. So these are the ones that I go through and I just kind of decide which ones I want to read. Oh, wait. I also have these two that I'm going to read today. So the first one is, oh my gosh, I'm losing my place. Okay, the first one that we're going to read from today is Living Juicy by Sark, and I was actually talking about her on my meditation book the other day. I love her. She has like pictures throughout here. The thing is that her meditations are very, very simple. She writes a lot of books that are mostly directed towards women, but she talks also in her books about addiction. She talks about chasing your dreams, which I love. She talks about being a victim of sexual abuse. She talks about all kinds of things, and she's just so transparent and honest in her writing. It's fantastic, and I just love all of her work. So that's one of the meditation books. The other meditation book, I'm just going to kind of go through these quickly, is The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty, which you guys know. And then most of these you guys, you'll know, but Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On. This is about grief. And then Time for Joy. This is not one of my favorites. They're very short. I'll show you. I've read these before in here, but like, here, see, there can be very, very short, just like, you know, a quote. And then I was actually talking about this one in my vlog the other night. This was one of my mom's favorites. I'm going through here right now and I can see where she's like underlined passages and stuff. Let me pick a really good one. See, can you see? She like underlined all kinds of stuff. But this is, from Rabbi Tursky, who is like really well known in the addiction community. Seek sobriety, find serenity, thoughts for every day. And it's good. It's just very like, let me show you one. Oh, here's one my mom just underlined the hell out of and highlighted and stuff. They're very long and they're very kind of like intellectual text kind of things. And I just like something to motivate me in the morning. So some of these I don't typically read. And then I have A Time to Be Free, Daily Meditations for Enhancing Self-Esteem. I think my dad gave me this one, actually. Yep, he did. Welcome back. We love you. He gave me that when I first got sober. And then The Soul's Companion, Connecting with the Soul Through Daily Meditations. This is not one of my favorites either, but I have two of these, and I think one I gave to my mom. Okay, and then I have Meditations for Living in Balance, Daily Solutions for People Who Do Too Much. And I really like this one, but I don't usually pull it out and use it. I'm actually going to set this aside. I'm going to start using that one more. I like that one. And then this is the nighttime one that I found not too long ago. Nightlight, Amy Dean, a book of nighttime meditations. I'll try to put these up in my Amazon store page so you guys can go check it out and see which ones are which. Sometimes on Amazon they're really, really high priced. I just put them on there so you guys can find them. But you might want to Google them and see if you can find them elsewhere or go to your half price books or whatever. I find these all the time at half price books. Boo Radley is really wanting some attention right now. And then Healing After Loss, Daily Meditations for Working Through Grief. The Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone, you know, one of my all-time favorites. My Time with God by Joyce Meyer, which is highly, highly religious, but I know people don't really love Joyce Myers, and she's got a lot of opinions about, you know, gay people and things like that, but I try to read past all of that, you know. I'm not somebody that likes to judge with like a heavy heart, and so I try to look past all that and just kind of read the meditation, because there is a lot of wisdom in this book, and a lot of my friends that are in recovery really like Joyce Myers. She's comical kind of in how she looks at the world, so I really do like these meditations in here, and but I have to kind of read through them. I don't typically read the Bible passage at the beginning and stuff. And then the last one that I have is Journey to the Heart, Daily Meditations on the Path to Freeing Your Soul by Melody Beatty. I don't know if I'm actually going to read both of these meditations today because it's getting kind of long. It's almost at 9 minutes already. But this one, Living Juicy, Daily Morsels for Your Creative Soul by Sark, is so fantastic. And let me read you what it says at the beginning in here, okay? Living Juicy is jumping for joy on the inside. In the midst of our daily lives, we must find the juice to nourish our creative souls. If we rush around, never look closely, or practice self-denial. Can I just say, somebody wrote on my vlog the other day, I had mentioned this on here, that they stopped at the grocery store and smelled the roses. That made me so happy. I love that, okay? Because I literally, every time I go to the store, if there are flowers, I smell them. Okay. And if I find flowers that don't have a smell to them, which I feel like all flowers should have a smell to them, then which is interesting because I love stargazer lilies. My husband hates, he hates how they smell, but I love them. It's my favorite flower. So, but I love how they smell in a house. If we rush around, never look closely, or practice, oh, what was I gonna say? This is totally off the subject, but I love those like white pom-poms, is that what they're called too? I think they look so pretty in a house, but they don't really have much of a smell to them. Okay, if we rush around, never look closely, or practice self-denial, we will begin to feel dry and cracked for the lack of sweet, wild moments that elevate us and those around us. The name for this is Living Juicy. Our creative souls need nurturing and understanding. How do we remain creatively open? Where does our inspiration come from? How can we embrace our negative selves? What can we say to our internal judges and critics? How can we best share our creativity? I believe that we are each highly creative with important gifts to share, words to speak and write, lights to shine on ourselves and others. Hold on a second. Boo Radley is dying to be up here. Boo Radley? What is it? He said, I want to hear the meditation. Okay, he wants to hear the meditation. In order to do this work, we need tending, planting, weeding, nourishing. This is all work we must do in our interior gardens. I began reading a daily meditation book about 6 years ago. Now I have an assortment of these daily guides to begin and end my days with. It is uncanny how supported I feel by reading such small books. A day can shift into a profound place by the reading of a single perfect sentence at the perfect time. If I awaken and leap into the world without any interior gardening, it is very easy to be distracted from my true creative self. We must all plant our most impossible gardens. And I love that so much. Oh wait, there's more. Hey, Radley, there's more. Do you want to sit up here on the chair with me? Okay, sweetheart. Hold on. There you go, buddy. Oh, and he jumps over to the other chair. So, any lessons I offer here, I'm learning myself. Some of the quotes come from books and journals, and she quotes a lot of different books and journals in here, and I won't go in. There's like 3 more pages, but anyway. And then she has it underneath here by all the dates, and it has believing, July 1 through 7, painting, whatever. And I love this book so much, right? But it reminds me of this painting that I used to have. I'll have to find it and show you guys, because I know that I have it down. It's actually in our downstairs bathroom, because my mom and I used to collect this artist's work. They're very inexpensive. Check them out online. It's called The Storyteller. And he like paints these pictures and then he tells like a story underneath it. And I think the one, I'm not gonna be able to quote it exactly, but it's in there. It's like this monster in this garden. And he said, it says, I used to keep a garden of negative thoughts, but then I realized that it took too much attention to keep it growing. So one day I just let it go. And I love that so much. I love that so much. And I got that from my mom years and years and years ago. And she had given me like 4 or 5, and I've got some of them in the kitchen. You might have seen them on the vlog. And then, you know, she gave me like 4 or 5. I had given her like 4 or 5. And so now when she passed away, I have like 10 of them. They're very cool. Okay, the meditation for this today is give yourself ecstatically, abundantly, in full amounts, without measuring. One day I was walking on a downtown street and a little girl and her mom huddled against the side of a building and asked for money. I looked in my pocket and gave the little girl what I found there. Look, Mommy, she shouted. It's glitter. It's magic, Mommy. Her mother smiled shyly and we sat in the sun together, talking about magic. We are each blessed with a self to give. And I love that. You know, I mean, sometimes we don't have a lot to give. Sometimes we just have ourselves and talking and, you know, listening, you know, and whatever we can offer, or a meal, or, you know, inviting somebody else over to our home for Christmas. Like, I've been doing that with a lot of my friends recently because a lot of my friends don't have people to spend the holidays with because their families live other places and they can't afford to travel. And, it had to be really hard on one of my friends because I'm like, okay, I know she doesn't have anywhere to go. And I've said, this is a sober friend of mine, and I've said to her like 4 or 5 times, come over to my cousin's house. She won't care. You know, come over to my in-laws' house. I know they won't care, okay? I mean, we'll be up till 3 o'clock in the morning. It's dancing, it's food. You'll have a blast. She's like, no, I think I'm just going to sit at home. She's like, I don't want to really be a burden. I'm like, you're not a burden. We would enjoy you being there, you know? And so I think it's that, you know, it's just giving what we can give, whether it's just driving along. Like, this is one of the things I've really been practicing lately is when I'm in a parking lot, especially at holiday time, and I'm driving through a parking lot and somebody is like racing to get to a spot, like I let them have it. You know, I park at the end of the parking lot and I walk in, and I, you know, am able to walk the distance. I know that there are some people that can't, okay, that it's really hard for them to walk long distances, but for me, that's not the case. And if somebody else needs a closer spot, let them have it. I'll park at the end of the parking lot. It's not hurting me at all to walk a little bit extra anyway, you know what I mean? And I think that over time, what happens is we have to have the closest spot, you know, and I used to call it princess parking, but I don't really care so much about that anymore. You know, if it happens, it happens. But like if I'm in a really packed parking lot, I just park at the very end and let somebody else have the parking spot. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to just give that. And it was funny because I was driving through Starbucks like 3 or 4 days ago. And the guy said to me, he goes, do you want to pay it forward? Because there's like a bunch of people that have paid it forward. And I said, well, yeah, sure. I go, how much is it? Like he's going to say $32.50 or something, you know? Yeah, I'll pay it forward until it's real expensive. And this happens every once in a while at Starbucks. And, you know, and that somebody will like, you know, it's like this long line. Have you heard about this? And it'll go on for days or whatever. So anyway, I said, I go, do you ever have people that like say, no, I don't want to pay it when there's been like 60 people before pay it? And he goes, oh yeah. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, sometimes we just write it off so that like we just let them go and then we just keep it going. I go, that is really nice of you. And you know, like that's another way. Like, you know, it's just like, okay, we're not going to ruin the magic, you know? And so I don't know. It's just sometimes we have to think outside of the box of how to give to others. It doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be, you know, in the form of a gift. It doesn't have to be any of that. You know, one of the things that I love about Christmas, and I was talking about this on my vlog, is that I'm 46 years old. I have lived a very blessed life. I have received so many nice gifts. I've traveled around the world. I've had so many things that I have wanted in my life, things. And you know what I've realized in my 46 years at the end of it, losing my mother, losing my aunt, losing my uncle, you know, losing friends of mine, that those things are great. They're nice. I like nice things, you know, but at the end of the day, they just don't really matter. They really don't, you know? And what matters is spending time with people that I love and care about, that while they're still here, while we're still, you know, interacting, and, you know, those memories that I have to go on for the future. Those are the things that are priceless, that really mean a lot, you know? And so I try to remember that. And those kinds of things of like, you know, making something special and bringing it to a, you know, a holiday. And a couple years ago, like after my, like, I don't know, it was when Alex and I were together, but my mom used to bring deviled eggs for Christmas every year, and she would make raw apple muffins and orange bread. And so this one year I was like, and if you watch my videos, you know I don't cook, okay? But I was like, I'm gonna make my mom's recipes like to a T. And I sat in the kitchen one night, I put on Christmas movies, and I made orange bread, raw apple muffins, and deviled eggs. My deviled eggs, they were not very good, but that's not the point. I made them all, and I took a picture of it. And I like sent it to all of my family. I was so excited about it, right? And it was fun, you know, and then I took it, and it was a little bit of my mom's memory there, you know? And there are so many ways for us to give to people. Like, I love when people make cookies and they bring them to you, you know? It's just like, it's stuff like that. It doesn't take a whole lot, you know? And I think to just get out of ourselves. And don't you always feel better when you get out of yourselves and give to other people? I know I do. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday season. I will try to list these books, at least my favorites of them, over on the Amazon store, which is listed below, just so you guys can reference those. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.